Hi, I'm Kyle.
I'm Josh.
This is Two Guys, One Car.
Welcome to our car.
Dude, it starts with Two Guys, One Car. That's the name. It should start
It's
with
welcome
the
to our car.
name. No, but it has to start with Two Guys, One Car because that's the name of the thing.
Just get in the back seat.
Right along with us.
Right, everyone, we're back at it. It's just us this time. What we're going to do is break down Josh's upcoming trip to Vietnam. So this is actually the first time Josh has travelled overseas since he was
13.
13. So there's a lot to unpack, and this is something he's wanted to do for ages. Obviously, COVID is in the way of a lot of that since we finished school. Since we've been 18, at least, adults. But yeah, we're going to unpack that. So first of all, are you keen?
Yeah, I'm super excited. It's I don't know, it's one of those things that I never really let myself get excited for trips until I'm actually on a trip, or the night before a trip, or as I'm driving to the airport, or anything like that. Reason being is, like, I don't invest everything into the trip. Like, the trip is absolutely awesome, and I'm so grateful and so excited to be able to, like, have the ability to go overseas. Like, it's a lot of people can't do that, so I'm very grateful for that. But I'm also aware that there's a lot of unforeseen circumstances in life that can pop up and prevent me from going on this trip. So if I've, like, built all my joy, all my happiness upon this upcoming trip, and then it falls through for whatever reason, then I'm going to be disappointed and absolutely devastated. And, like, that's not to say that if it fell apart, I'd be devastated. Obviously I would. I'd be upset. But, like, until I'm doing it, I just don't let myself get that excited for it.
Yeah, so you're going for how long?
2 weeks.
Okay.
Short trip.
Yeah,
Or
so 2 weeks.
Shorter trip, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is what you make of it, right? I think like 14 days, is it? Like exactly, like how many days?
I think it's about, when is it? I think it's 13.
Okay, so 13 days. And I guess depending on like where you're going, like I have no knowledge of that area or anything like that, but I don't know what a holiday can look like.
14, 15 days, yeah. So.
Okay, yeah. So it is what you make it, right? And I guess that depends on like who you're going with. So maybe shed some light on that and why, how it came about.
Yeah, no, definitely. So the trip came about quite spontaneously. One of my mates, Pat, he's on uni break at the moment, and he has 6 weeks holidays and just said, dude, I want to go overseas and want to go overseas with you. Like,
which is sick.
Yeah, do you want to come? And like, I'm a yes man. I say yes to everything, even things I don't really want to do. But this was something I'm super keen for. So I just said yes, and we were like, all right, let's figure out a place to go. Asia, because it's cheap. And then it was literally like, the reason we chose Vietnam was, of all the countries that are like have the loosest COVID rules, like the least amount of restrictions, Vietnam is in that list.
Okay.
And then they had the cheapest flights, $570 return flights, which is very cheap.
Wait, so Pat didn't know that he wanted to go to Vietnam?
No.
You guys chose that
We
together.
chose that, yeah.
That is cool.
Yeah, so we were like, I think initially we were thinking Philippines, and I actually messaged Luke, one of our mates is a travel vlogger, and he's currently in Asia and travels around Asia predominantly. So I asked him, like, if he knew what countries are going to be like the easiest to get in, get out of, and just travel around without any rules and regulations. And he said like Vietnam was a good place to go, and Philippines, I think it was Philippines or Indonesia, one of the two. He said that they have like quite like rigid rules at the moment, so we shouldn't go there. So yeah, Vietnam it is.
Sick. Yeah. And speaking of Luke, he's sort of going to be with you on part of the trip.
Yeah, so that was also super spontaneous. And super exciting. So he's like one of my best mates, and we have been talking. I was messaging him the other day. We've been talking about traveling together for like 5-6 years now, overseas travel as well. And when he first went on his first trip overseas to India, like when he started pursuing YouTube and vlogging, he messaged me, because we stay in contact all the time, and he was up in the Himalayas, and he was just like, dude, we have to get Royal Enfields, which is a motorbike, and ride them through the Himalayas. And I was just like, dude, count me in. And he like sends me all these photos of the Himalayas and what it's like, and we're on phone calls and we're talking about it, dreaming about like the opportunity that arises when I'm able to go do that with him. At that point in time, I was doing my mechanic apprenticeship and was tied down to that. And I'm like, dude, once I'm done this, like, we're going, it's on, it's going to happen. So yeah, we were just chatting, and I was like, dude, I'm going to Vietnam for 2 weeks. I don't know what your movements are like, but if it lines up, that would be awesome. Like, if we could just like travel for a little bit together. I was thinking maybe like a couple of days he might come over. Turns out like unforeseen things happened in his life, good things. And he is now coming on the entire trip with us. He booked on our flight unknowingly. Like he booked the one flight that's like going to Vietnam on the 12th of July, and that's our flight. And he's going to be with us for the whole trip,
Which is
I'm
sick.
so excited for. Like it's literally like a dream come true. We've been dreaming about this moment for years. And like the loose plan with our travel is to just like get motorbikes, and we're flying into Ho Chi Minh, which is in the south of Vietnam, and just ride our way up north. So it's like essentially everything we wanted, like without the Himalayas.
Yeah. Sick. So so I was kind of get into that a little bit. Like, what do you guys plan on actually doing? Because you have 14 days. So you're going to fly into one spot and fly out of a different spot?
Yeah.
So one-way trip type thing?
Yeah. So it's like we're flying in and out of Ho Chi Minh.
Oh, okay.
But I think the rough plan is like, the plan is to have no plan essentially. But from what we know, at least, like we've gotten a few recommendations from friends. One of our mates, Alec, lived in Vietnam for 2 years. And like I know a bunch of people that have been, so they've like given us recommendations of places to see. We're very much like looking for the outdoors, bush hikes, waterfalls, just anything adventurous and outdoors essentially, is what we're seeking, and pretty much whatever comes our way. So I think the rough plan is flying to Ho Chi Minh, find motorbikes, ride our way up north. I forget the town up north, or the place up north. And then fly from there back to Ho Chi Minh at the end of the trip, and then fly home. Reason we're doing that is to fly like to Sydney from that the northern part of Vietnam.
Double the cost or something?
Yeah, it was like $1,000 or something, like $800 more. Whatever
One way.
It was.
Oh, more for return flight.
Yeah. So, but the flight from the tip to the south is like $70. So
yeah,
it's just so much cheaper. It makes so much more sense.
Is there like a route where you can go sort of like a loop back down there?
I'm sure there probably is. Yeah. But like we're just gonna go up.
Oh, that's right. Fly back. Sorry, you did say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, why? So you're speaking to like the fact that you guys are going to go in with no plan at all, which I think, like for me, I freaking love that. But for some people, they probably hear it and they're like, "What the hell are you talking about?" Like you go to like a third world country that you've never been to, have no idea about. How do you have no plan? So maybe speak to like a little bit about that and why are you going to go in with no plan?
Yeah, well, I think ultimately it comes back to expectations and like wanting to be disappointed or not be disappointed. Like anytime you have a plan in life, like ultimately like life never goes to a plan. You can never plan life out to the T. There's just so many like variables that can cause things to go like a different way, a different outcome, whatever it is. And people get so anchored to plans, right? So you talk to a lot of people like, oh, what do you want to do after school? And like they can tell you their life like mapped out. They're 17 years old, 18 years old, and they have from 18 to the day they die completely mapped out. And like, yes, goals are important and I see value in having goals, but at the same time, none of that's going to come to fruition. A lot of what you've written down, a lot of what you've thought about is just not going to pan out the way you thought it was. And that's simply because you just don't know life. Yeah,
in more ways than one, I reckon it's like speaks to things that are controllable and uncontrollable. Even in your controllable life, it's not going to be what you think because the uncontrollables are going to affect that.
Definitely. Ultimately, like whatever it is that you can control is just like an accumulation of things that are out of your control that have like been placed into your control. Like I can control like what clothes I put on, but like how much choice did I have over the clothes that I have? Like I went to the shops and bought them, but how much choice did I have over what clothes were in the shops? Like it's like there's a lot that's out of our control, but like whatever's in our control really stems from something out of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I think that's just kind of been my mindset with everything I do for the most part. I go in with a rough plan, with a really rough idea of what I want to do. It's important to be prepared. Like being prepared and having a plan is two separate things. Being prepared like is covering logistics, right? Like I have my visa, I have my passport, my like COVID international passport, like all of that stuff. Like that is preparation, and that's all like the logistics side of things. But in terms of like filling time whilst I'm there, how can I know what I want to do in a place that I've never been, right?
And it's so funny because that just like when you say that, it sounds so obvious, but it's not, because you like most of us would think like, oh, I've never been there, so I need to plan more. But it's like, you've never been there, so why would you plan?
Yeah,
it actually is the reverse of what you initially think.
Definitely. Like, it's, in my mind, it's just like comfort seekers plan things. People that like to be comfortable, and there's nothing wrong with this. Like, people that go and like plan their holiday like from top to bottom, start to finish, like there's nothing wrong with doing that. I just truly believe that I'm going to get the most out of an experience if I don't have a plan. Reason being is because if I haven't got a plan, or sorry, if I have a plan, I'm really like rigid to that plan, and then an opportunity pops up that isn't in the plan, I'm going to be like hesitant to take it because I have this plan planned out and I want to follow my plan. But I'm like, oh, this opportunity could be cool. And whatever I do, if I do it, I'm probably going to be stressing that it's interrupted my plan. And if I don't do it, I might be like, oh, I should have done that. But when I have no plan, I get there, an opportunity pops up. I'm like, cool, let's roll with that. This is the plan. The plan is to have no plan. And that's what's so much more enjoyable.
It's also cool because I reckon that transcends to day to day. Like doing, say, like you plan to go get coffee with someone and then something goes south. Someone's late, so you can't actually go do that or whatever. It's like that. How does that? It shouldn't ruin things for you. I feel like sometimes when I definitely used to do this a lot, it's like I'd have a plan and I'd want for something, and like you said, you look forward to it for so long, and then it comes to fruition, and then it's just not what it was meant to be, and then you're just like bitter and just like, ah, shit, like I wanted it to be this, but it's not that, and like I'm just now not enjoying it. So, and you make that choice to not enjoy it. It's like, yeah, there is a weird medium of like, yes, like I like the idea of what you're saying with the preparation. That's cool. The difference between being actually prepared and then having a plan. Like you can be prepared, but then still just take whatever comes your way. So what are the types of things you think will come your way? Like not to set any expectations, but do you have any sort of maybe scenes or goals that you want to be experiencing on the trip?
That's a good question. I think it's just, I guess authenticity is something I always try to carry wherever I go and whatever I'm doing. But if I look at specifics, it's probably just people in my mind.
Okay.
People and nature. Like that's pretty much the two things I enjoy in life. Like meeting new people, helping people, and being out in nature and just like seeing like beautiful creation. Like it's just, I love it. It's so fulfilling. It's so wholesome. And when I do like my endurance events and like long distance trips, etc., like the things that highlight that trip for me are always the people. And I can like speak to that on two accounts. When I hiked the Larapinta and did the Hunt 1000, those two trips, I covered like the most beautiful terrain, like saw the most beautiful landscapes. But what made it for me is the people. And there's a Christopher McCandless quote out of a movie, Into the Wild. Christopher McCandless is the character's name. And he says like happiness is only real when shared. And I do believe that because I've experienced like a lot of these beautiful places by myself, like solo hiking and stuff like that. And it's awesome. It's so cool. But there's just one thing missing when I'm at those places, and it's the people. So for me, this trip is like something I'm keen for. And again, like I don't hold myself to this. I don't put this expectation because it's out of my control. I don't know how people are going to act over there. And like what the conversation's going to be like, if there is any conversation. But
well, it might be not what you think as well, because there's obviously a language barrier.
Exactly.
So it's like they'll be conversing in different ways. It just aren't dialogue.
Definitely. But it's just people. Like I thoroughly look forward to meeting new people, seeing new ways of living. Like everything about being in a new culture excites me. We were speaking about it today. Like one of our friends was recently in Bali, and they almost drowned because they like dislocated their shoulder out in the surf. And there was like in Bali, there was no lifeguards on the beach. So one of their friends swam in trying to get help, and like no one was helping her. And it's like just little things like that. For us, we're programmed to think in our mind like every beach has like lifeguards. There's help at every beach, because where we live, that is the case. Like it's true to our current environment. But over there, it's clearly not the reality. So like that was, I guess, a foreseen thing. Like I would think of that, but I'm so keen to experience all the unforeseen things, all the unforeseen differences. Maybe it's like just having a PowerPoint in like every room, or I don't know what it's going to be. Like there's, again, it's unforeseen. I'm not too sure, but I'm really excited to just like opened my eyes to how much more I have. Like how many more luxuries I live with day to day that I don't realize.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that.
Definitely. Everything you said, and you kind of did drop the word, but culture is like a massive part of what you're saying. Like, and for us, like, and we did actually speak about it this morning, but just for us growing up here in Sydney, Northern Beaches, just as upper class as you can freaking get, it's like, we just have, as much as like we experience like our culture and whatnot, there's just so much to offer outside our area, and we're very insular. So, I love that you're seeking that outside of this. And for some, it could be a holiday, and you do experience some cultural difference, but for you, you're actually going out and seeking that cultural change, which I freaking love. Like, that's something I would like, I want to do over the next 10 years, is just get a different perspective on things. Like, we think one way, but I just, something you actually mentioned yesterday when we were talking about our upcoming like project, The Drive, how you were talking about how our friend Will was sitting amongst a group of like 10 Aboriginal men in some tribe, and they did this thing. What do they call it when they're in the circle?
I don't know what it's called exactly, but
and we don't want to butcher it or anything like that.
Yeah,
but
I think it's just like a men's circle, or just like men time, or I'm not too sure, but essentially like, yeah, what it is like they just gather around a fire every afternoon. Will was saying, I think around like 4 p.m. or so, and he said like he was amazed how like no one was speaking. There was no words said, and he was in there for about a month in this community, living with these Indigenous people, and he like decided to time it one time to see how long it was, and 45 minutes went by and no one said a word.
That's so awesome, and that's on our doorstep. You know what I mean? Like, that's on our country land, and I've never heard anything like that. Legit, I've never heard a thing like that. But that's here. So imagine what it's like somewhere else in another country. It's like, that is so intriguing.
Definitely. And it's cool as well because, like, I don't know, I've been overseas a little bit when I was younger. I remember like a lot of it, but I don't think I had the awareness that I have now, nor the appreciation. So like, I won't speak to those experiences that much, but in terms of like culture shock and really like diving into another culture, I haven't really had that. I honestly did feel when I was out in Alice Springs, like I truly did feel that I was like in a completely new world and in a like living in just a different way of life.
That's true though, because it's out back.
Meeting some people out there, like the towns we drove through, the people we spoke to, just their way of life is so different that I was like, this is not like the Australia I know. This is far from Sydney. Like it's really different. But yeah, to think I'm going like halfway, well not halfway around the world, but around the world to a completely different country, completely different people, like completely different ways of living. Like just, it excites me because like the reason it excites me, the reason change and new experiences excite me is because it's ultimately all growth. It's growth, it's knowledge. And with knowledge, like comes your ability to like serve others and serve people. Like the more you know, the more you can help someone, right? So if I'm constantly seeking these new experiences, I'm just constantly gaining knowledge, more knowledge, more knowledge. And that only allows me to do more things in my life. And I think initially prior to this trip, I was a bit reluctant to go actually. I know I did say like, I just said yes, but I was contemplating it for quite a while because we're obviously like doing our thing with the pod and just like trying to see where that goes. And then I was like, man, like 2 weeks out, like, and you're going away just before on a family holiday. So I was like, oh, that's what is it, 3-4 weeks? We're out? 4?
Just under 4.
Yeah,
it's like 3.5. Yeah, so it's more than 3.
Yeah, just under 4 weeks. I'm like, man, that's a lot of time. Like, we're getting in the groove. We're finding our rhythm, our flow, and now it's going to be broken. And it was like after a conversation with you, and it was actually the camping trip that a conversation I had with this old man. And I know I spoke about this on a pod, but I don't think we released that one.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think we did. But
okay. I know what you're saying.
But what I was saying was we were at this campsite down, it was called Saltwater Creek Campsite down in Ben Boyd National Park. And there was an old man there camping out of his like 4-wheel drive ute, had like a camper trailer set up and everything. And I went over to him in the morning because I saw that he was doing kettlebell exercises. So we started chatting and got to know him a bit and his story, and basically like he was in his like, I don't know, 70s or so, late 60s, early 70s. And he'd been traveling Australia for the past 3 years in his car. And what had happened, like what prompted him to travel, which I was poking at, trying to ask him why he was out here. He was married for 30 years or so, and he just realized that like he didn't want to be with this woman, so he left his original wife and like was with some
original wife.
Yeah, his first wife, and was with some other woman. I don't know if he had an affair or what, but he was with some other woman. I think he said they got married. They were together for a few years, and then he realized like he just wants to travel and be free and experience life. So he left her and started traveling in 2019. And he'd seen like a little bit of Australia, a little bit of the East Coast over his life, but not too much. He's like keen surfer. Like surfing is his one passion. Absolutely loves to surf. And the East Coast of Australia is known for some of like the best surf break in the world. And now that he's like driving to all of these places and seeing all of like this amazing surf break, he can't surf. His body's like at a point where it's too old, it's too fragile, and he doesn't have the ability to surf anymore. And hearing him tell me like that he goes to these beaches and just sits and watches the waves, like just saddened my heart, because like that's something he'd been wanting to do for most of his life, but he just never did it.
Yeah. I don't think you get much more direct than that message.
Definitely. And it's
like in like the fact that he identified that that's the one thing he loves to do, and he waited too long. Like that's just
definitely. And again, like he waited too long. Like he has to hold himself accountable for that, because for whatever reason he felt tied down to like these marriages, these commitments, and felt that he could never do what he wanted to do. And obviously I don't know his full story, but by the sounds of it, it wasn't any financial restraints.
It's interesting because he, like, there's probably a bunch of things for him, but he speaks of it as like his marriage. So I wonder if it was maybe the relationship he had with his wife, because by no means marriage doesn't tie you down to not doing shit you don't want to do. But I think maybe for him, all of the problems stemmed from his marriage. But from what you're saying, he kind of resented that a lot. But fair enough.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like, that's how some people live their life and circumstances occur. But yeah, it was after hearing that and talking to him that then I spoke to you, and I was like, dude, this is just like, it's another opportunity that's come up. Like, it's just something I should do. Like,
it makes the most sense. Well, you came to me saying, I don't think I will. And then I was like, why not? And it's not even like, it's like 2 weeks. But to be fair, like we were both, I had already been like, I'm going away, but we'll make it work. Like, this is what we're doing right now. You know what I mean? Like, we're making it work. I think that's the whole point, is that we shouldn't get in the way of like, yes, there's obviously a certain level of commitment, but it's like, can we make it work? And like, yeah, we can just record ahead of time. And it's like, let's do that. And then that's the way we'll figure it out. You know what I mean? We can have the best of both worlds.
Yeah. And it's ultimately
it's always a way. It's always the burner thing that you talk about. It's always that. Like, just keep assessing. It's like, why don't you push the travel burner? Dude, your travel burner doesn't even exist. Like, you haven't even traveled. So the fact that it doesn't even exist means like, let's light that, you know, like we can take a hit. It's fine. Like, as in, and I guess always
and it's not even a hit, because ultimately
that's what
coming back to like what I was saying with like, it's new experiences is knowledge.
Yes.
So it's only going to benefit us more.
Which is what I was going to get at to next. Yeah. It's like the more stuff you do and the more you experience is the more opportunity that's going to show itself, the more choice you have, the more understanding you have. It just speaks, it speaks good. So
yeah, no, so I'm really keen now. It's just like about, I don't know, 2 weeks out.
Yeah, definitely. Anyway, is there anything else you sort of want to touch on?
Yeah, so like for the trip, the goal is to do it as cheap as possible. So like we're not anchored to this, but like we like the idea of a sub 2K holiday. So
that's tight.
570 for the flights. So that gives us like just under 1,500 for spending over there. Which again, like because I have nothing to go off. I have no history of travel.
Yeah.
To know if that's a accurate number or not. But like, I'm pretty confident that I can.
Yeah. Dude, I have full faith that you guys will not crack past that. I think. What's the plan for staying in places? Do you have any
hostels?
Plan? Hostels.
Just cheap as possible.
Yeah.
As cheap as humanly possible.
You gonna take a tent? No tent?
No tent. Okay. Yeah.
Because that would change the game. Because you could just...
Yeah.
Actually,
I don't even know if you could.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's something.
It's kind of red hot.
Yeah. But yeah, just cheap as possible. But at the same time, like, I'm enjoying my time over there. It's finding that perfect balance when you travel. Like, even if you travel interstate or wherever you live, like, finding a balance between like spending bucket loads and being annoyed at yourself for that, and like being a stinge and like being annoyed that you missed out on all these opportunities. You got to find that middle line where you're like still sensible with your money, but you can also enjoy whatever you're doing.
Well, it depends who you are. You know what I mean? Like if you've absolutely worked your ass off and now you're like, I'm going to go away and experience this, experience that, go it. But like say for you or for me or for Pat, like it's just like we want to experience stuff, but also not spend too much. So it's like every decision you go and make, just weigh it up. It's like, what is this actually valued to me?
Definitely.
Yeah, you guys will crush it. And I guess we'll do a post one as well, like once you're back, and you can talk about like your first time like actually going overseas and as an adult.
Yeah, and another thing I was going to say was another like point of resistance for me initially was the fact that it's only 2 weeks. I don't know. I love the idea of just being, if I'm overseas, like I want to be there for
ages,
a long time.
Me
like,
too. Yeah,
months and months and months on end. So like being a 2 week trip, I was, I don't know, that's so short. It's going to be over before I know it. Am I going to even get a taste of what the country's got to offer? And then I realized that like the two bigger trips that I've done, like the Larapinta and the Hunt, those were both like, the Hunt was 10 days and the Larapinta was like a 2 week walk. 12-day walk. If you include the whole trip, it was about like 2.5 weeks. And those two were life-changing experiences. Whilst they were within my own country and they're like very different to what I'll be doing, they were life-changing. And in such a short amount of time, like my life changed forever. So
imagine that, like we said, in another culture, in another area in which everything you do is like
brand new,
all new. Everything's new. Like it's like you can't discredit that. It's going to be so good.
Yeah. So that was like when I realized, okay, like 2 weeks is actually a really long time.
Plenty of time. That's ages.
Yeah.
That's a snippet of your life. And think of how long you live in that time, like how much actual living you're doing. Day to day here, it's like you have snippets of living. Say it's a conversation for 2 hours on that day or a new thing you did on that day. That's your hour of living. You're having 24 hours for 14 days of living, like new, fresh experience.
Yeah.
Which is like so valuable.
Yeah, it's going to be sick. I feel like I'm just going to be a big kid, just like running around a like playground or something. Just like, oh my goodness.
Soaking everything up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
no doubt you'd be exhausted.
Really
super stimulating.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Which would be cool.
I'm keen for everything. Food excites me. The food's like just flavors. New flavors, new foods. Just everything's new. As you said, everything I'll be doing is like pretty much brand new to me. So I cannot wait. Cannot wait.
Yep. Dude, I'm so excited for you. And I'm happy we did this like pre-thing as well, because now I sort of know where your head's at and stuff like that going into it, and we get to actually break it down post and like when we call, like while you're away, what we'll talk about and stuff. But dude, so freaking keen for you.
Cheers, brother.
Let's do it.
Very keen.
All right. All right, guys. So I'm going to do the challenge of the week as well. We didn't forget about that one. What I'm going to do is challenge you, Josh. Well, actually, you're about to do it, but you can still do this. I would say, like, on any sort of scale, try and involve yourself in, like, a different cultural scene, whether that be through, I thought, going, like the extreme case would maybe, like, it could be, like, a religious experience. You could go experience another, like church or anything like that, some sort of meeting place for some other religion or culture, maybe a podcast. Like, educate yourself on, like, something that's culturally unknown to you. I'm sure that everyone...
You could even go to like Chinatown in the city.
Yeah.
Just like... Yeah. Or go like... Because like a lot of ethnicities are in Australia, or at least like New South Wales and Sydney, they gather in like different regions.
That's
so,
what I'm sort of getting at.
Yeah, like I know Eastwood's like very like Asian, like heavy at the moment, predominant. It was like very Italian. I think Leichhardt has like a lot of Italians. Like Granville area has like a lot of like Lebanese people. So it's like just like go somewhere and immerse yourself. I like that. That's cool. Yeah,
that, and if you can't get to do that, like just educate yourself on some sort of cultural thing that everyone like is interested in, like, and like some other culture. If you had to ask people like, what country would you go to if you went overseas? They pick something straight away. Ideally somewhere not like similar to us, like America or like New Zealand, Canada, anywhere that isn't sort of English speaking close to us, but any culture that you've sort of thought about before, maybe look into a little bit more, educate yourself a little bit more on that.
A challenge. Okay, I have a challenge for you. It's like it's going to be beneficial for you. Like and anyone listening, whatever you're needing to get done, but you just have been putting it off, I challenge you to do it. You have a deadline. By the end of this week, whenever this pod's released,
I know what this is.
Whenever this episode gets released, you have a week from now to do whatever it is that you've been needing to do for quite a long time.
I got plenty of time.
Whether it's messaging a friend, whether it's like, I don't know, whether it's messaging a friend, whether it's organizing a room, whether it's selling your car that you've been sitting on for 3 months because you bought a new car and you haven't sold it. That's a really random example. But just get it done. So Kyle, I challenge you to sell your car, dude.
Buy my car. It's going to be up. It's probably going to be sold by the time this comes out. But if it's still up there, get on it. Betsy is a special unit.
And just to call him out. This man has... So the car we record in, the RAV Panda, he's owned this car now for 3-4 months.
Good girl.
And prior to that, he had a Holden Astra.
Beast.
That he still hasn't sold. Like, what's the excuse? It's been
There's
4
no
months.
excuse. I'm just lazy and I need to get on that.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
So
it's just more of it's a frustrating task. That car just irritates me. It's a great car, so buy it, but it just frustrates me. So every time I think of it, I just kind of shove it under the rug, which I need to stop doing. So don't know how this relates to going to Vietnam, but
no, take the baggage out of your life.
Fair.
It doesn't have to relate.
Fair enough.
It's just bettering yourself.
Yeah.
That's what this is about. So
Sweet.
Anyone listening, I'm sure everyone has something that they've been putting off. Just start doing it. Whether it's something you want to start doing and you just haven't started it, or it's something you need to do.
I like that, dude. Everyone has that. Everyone has that. Mine is very specific, but like for some people, like they just might not know it straight away. But if you really sit there and think about it, you've got one of those.
Definitely.
100%. Even if it's not a task, just something you've wanted to do and you've just put it off for ages for no reason.
Yeah.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So this will be following the lo-fi challenge. These are all recorded at different times, but the current challenge we're in is listening to an album of music a day, like from A to B without shuffling it. And then the next one is to listen to lo-fi music.
Yeah.
And I put on a song, but like I will do it more in the next week. So
yeah. I've done the album one, but I've also done the lo-fi one. I'm on music and nothing, so I think that's quite easy for those ones. Yeah, but we're getting better at doing these challenges. Yeah. I don't know if we haven't talked about it in any others. I did yoga.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I did yoga. Okay, I didn't do it for a whole week. Again, I'll be honest, but I did do it twice. And that was so beneficial. Thanks, Nick, because that was great. I'd love to do it more and do how people have how people sort of have like a 9-part one or something like that. I love that. Like doing a different different things, and then it's one, not program, but you know what I mean? Just a free...
Well, it's the incentive to finish it. Everyone likes to finish what they start. So
routine.
It's just genius marketing.
So Josh actually showed me one, and I started doing that. So I did the first 2, and I think there's 10 or 11. So I'm going to continue on and finish that because that was sick. It was really, really, really good.
He's good.
And I think it's more than just actually doing it. It's taking the time that it's actually more about the act of you thinking, okay, right now in this moment, at this second in time, the fact that I'm doing yoga means that I believe that this is good for me. I'm doing something that's good for me. And I think that is even just as powerful as actually doing the yoga. Because yes, the yoga is a byproduct of it, but the fact that you chose to do the yoga is a big deal. But yeah, it doesn't have to, well, it does because the challenge was yoga, but hopefully if you'd listen to that one, you did that too, because it was great for me. I know that.
I didn't do it, and I have a valid excuse. I've been very sick. I had the flu, and I was bedridden for 3 days, and then felt terrible for another 2. But I'll do it next week when we get back from the hike. This following week, I'll do it. And I'll do it every day, 15 to 20 minutes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right. Signing off. Catch you on the next one.
Peace out.
Boom.